Welcome into the Border Battle Podcast. Jordan King and Chris Notch with you. I was a little quick on turning the music down there, but Chris, welcome in. It's a great day to be great. That's the new motto of the podcast. It's a great day to be great.
It's a great day to be great. That is what I love to hear out of your mouth. It's pretty rare when you have something this good coming out.
What can I say?
But hey, it's all right. We appreciate you.
I'm being great right now. That's for sure. So we implemented our rule, our new rule, and that is the buzzer rule. And we now have the buzzer on the soundboard, so I can play it during the show so we can hear it in our ears. So you're going to put 15 minutes on the clock. I'll give them the quick roundup of how it's going to go down.
Yep.
And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can look in the description and you'll see the times of when we switch topics. I always post that in there. And so if you click on it, if you literally go in the comments and click on where the topic you want, it'll take you straight to that. But anyways, it's going to be Alliance of American Football. There's football again.
Football.
We're talking about that for 15 minutes, 10 minutes of Oklahoma State talk, and then we'll finish it out with a little NBA trade deadline, which came and passed kind of uneventfully for me. But my Bucks got someone involved in that, so we'll get to that a little bit later. But we're going to start out 15 minutes on the clock, and then you'll hear this.
Ooh, yeah. I was going to say, too,
I can't be trusted with this.
Right? A little challenge to anyone that actually does listen to this, maybe even gets in this far, this hell will know. The next challenge, I want someone to comment, however, reach out to us, a new location they want us to do.
Yeah, we're doing this up in my room again.
For the second one.
Right.
Obviously, the first one was at the school. I want someone to throw out some idea, obviously relatively close to the Stillwater area, so that we in a place we can plug in if we have to go somewhere remotely. But
yeah, theoretically, we do need a power source. Not technically, but theoretically, if it's going to sound good, we would like a power source.
Yeah, so I'm going to send that challenge out. But yes, when you are ready, Jordan, I will hit that timer and we'll get on our way.
15 minutes. Let's do it, man. So you'll hear it afterwards. You'll hear the buzzer. I'm not going to play it again. The AAF, Chris, did you think this was going to be a hit when you first heard about the Alliance of American Football? It almost sounds fake that you say it. The Alliance of American Football. And it's the new football league that just started up yesterday. Had some games going on today. Has one going on right now as well, actually. I'll get to that in just a second. But kind of cool that we still have football going on.
Yeah, it's almost weird. To answer your question, when this was getting made and when this all came into fruition, I felt like this is going to be more of like it's almost like a G League type of joke to me, almost at first, of like, okay, this is going to be like the NFL trying, I know it's not the NFL, but that base of like, okay, we're going to try and create something to make you forget about, all the bad stuff and the bad calls that happen in the NFL. And I'm sure you're going to want to get to this, some of the hits that were that the quarterbacks took, I'm like, that would never even work in the NFL.
No, it wouldn't. And that is the give and take of this league, Chris. It's the give and take of this league because the one that's getting a lot of pub was clear helmet-to-helmet contact on the quarterback.
Where the helmet came off, right?
And the helmet popped off the quarterback. And the thing is, people love to see that kind of physicality. The problem is, I don't know a sustainable league that's going to be able to allow hits like that. I just don't. I don't know if it's sustainable to allow people to get hit like that continuously throughout a year. I don't see it happening. But the entertainment factor is certainly there.
Well, the entertainment factor is there. It's kind of like you said. It's the fact of right now, in my opinion, the majority of people don't like to see those hits all the time. There are some people, I do believe, obviously, that love that hit. I had a roommate actually go, "Have you seen this hit?" And I was like, "No." And I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, it was cool." But it's still that thought of like, okay, that person probably got a concussion. I would assume. I didn't actually watch the game, so I don't know what happened or got an update. But I think what people need to realize, football will never be what it used to be.
No, it's not.
It's just like the NBA, for instance.
I'm sorry.
There's this evolving, revolutionary style of the game. NBA got it with no bit. Centers are worthless, and we'll get into it with the trade deadline stuff. But it's just you can't hit a quarterback like you used to.
No.
You might as well make it like two-hand touch or flag football.
So what would you rather see then, Chris? Would you rather see these hits where the helmet's popping off, or would you rather see him having to put a pillow down where Clay Matthews goes in on Kirk Cousins and pretty much, a textbook tackle, and then they throw the flag? Do you want to see them err on the side of caution, or where this league err on the side of big hits?
Can I have like a two thing? So for instance, here's my biggest thing. I think quarterbacks need the protection.
Why?
In my eyes, more of just because
I think they need more protection in the NFL. Why?
Well,
because they are the stars in the NFL.
Well, no, that's what I'm talking about. Or are you talking about the
AAF?
Oh, I thought you were talking about NFL. That's what I thought you were asking me about.
And I'm trying to explain why the NFL errs on the side that it does with the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks make $30 million. They sell the most tickets. They sell the most jerseys. It is proven. It's scientifically proven. I hate to use the word scientifically involved with sports, but seriously, all the data shows that the quarterbacks drive this league. I don't know if the quarterbacks are going to drive the AAF yet, so I'm okay with them taking a few more hits or not being protected quite as much. But I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that the quarterbacks should get unfair protection like they do in the NFL. I'm just trying to explain it for people out there.
I think that with the AAFL, I think for them, this won't be an issue now. It's going to be once this league starts getting big, if it gets a following, then you're going to see the same thing with the quarterbacks as we do in the NFL, I believe. That if the quarterbacks start being that real big kind of, oh man, you go to an AAFL game to go watch the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like if that's what you're going for, and then, you get that fandom from that, you have to keep them safe. So here's what my point was going to be, and then I realized that I'd be going against what I'm already saying.
Right.
So with the quarterback being safe, but I would rather see a receiver, someone almost get jacked up.
Over the middle?
Yeah.
Like they used to?
Yeah, like seeing that. But then with them going against what I'm saying with the quarterback, because at the same time, like the problem here is there's a difference between when the quarterback gets hit and a defenseless receiver. Like that's always the hardest thing to distinguish.
And the only reason that cheap shots happen more to other positions in the NFL
because they can get away with it,
but they don't get protection like the quarterbacks do, and that's simply because of the nature of the position and the star power.
So let me ask you this: are you okay with defenders getting penalized for hitting a defenseless receiver, where like it? Obviously, you can tell it's if it's a helmet to helmet, something above the shoulders. Are you okay with that being thrown?
Yes, I'm fine with that being a penalty because, again, you have to worry about the long-term viability of your league.
Okay, so then let me ask you this now. With the quarterbacks, I get a roughing the passer when it's a late hit. Yes, that should be flagged. Now, are you against the hits like you said, for instance, when Clay Matthews went after Kirk Cousins, he got flagged for it, stuff like that? Like,
well, that shouldn't have been. That was a patented tackle. I mean, that was textbook.
Right, but I'm just saying, like those type of tackles, like should tackles like that where if they drive him into the ground, they drive him into the ground.
He didn't drive him into the ground.
Right, I'm just saying
right,
though.
No,
should those tackles be okay?
Yes. No. I don't. Okay. I don't know. I guess I don't mind seeing them. I don't mind seeing them, but from a business perspective, I understand why the NFL is trying to outlaw them.
I think it's funny though because to me, quarterbacks have always held their value. I would say since early '90s, since Dan Marino, Elway, those guys,
Brett Favre,
and Brett Favre for one took hits like it was his job. I mean, sometimes illegal, whatever.
Yeah,
and they still did just fine. I think at times they are getting a little too babyish with quarterbacks.
They are.
And part of the thing though is quarterbacks know they can get away with the whole woe is me. Tom Brady. Yeah, Josh Allen.
I'll tell you what, Josh Allen is one of the bigger ones, and my other podcast co-host, Jordan Bishop, is a Bills fan now. Probably not going to be happy to hear this if he listens to it, but I think Josh Allen works the officials. I think he does. He works the officials to make sure that he can get some of the calls.
I think a lot of quarterbacks do that though.
Yeah, no. You're probably right.
I think you see it with the Rams. I think Jared Goff at time. I mean, Carson Wentz was like that. Anytime a quarterback starts getting favoritism, they use it to their advantage and they start to abuse it in my eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirk Cousins has done it. I think Aaron Rodgers has done it. Every quarterback, you can't defend your star quarterback. Baker Mayfield, and he's a rookie. I just think that at some point, quarterbacks have to be okay with getting hit and tossed around at times.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we'll look back at yesterday. San Antonio Commanders, they're now 1-0. They beat the San Diego Fleet 15-6. I wish I had a box score for that. How do you get 15? Did they kick 5 field goals? Because if so, man, that might have been a little bit of a underwhelming game.
15, or you miss an extra point and there's a safety.
I guess.
I mean, technically there's a couple
ton
different
of ways to get there. But you remember Denard Robinson, Chris? Michigan
Oh,
guy?
yeah, quarterback, right?
Yeah, he is part of the Atlanta Legends. They fell 40-6 to the Orlando Apollos. So the Apollos off to a good start. But I want to kind of go through this and just see what CBS, who covered the games, had to say about these.
So just for clarification for myself and for others who maybe don't know so much, the AAFL, does it consist of past
AAF? AAF. Yep.
AAFL?
Alliance. No L.
Oh, just
Alliance
AAF?
of American Football.
Okay. Anyways, do these players consist of former NFL players that are out of the league?
Pretty
what
much.
is this? Oh, okay.
Pretty much.
Or
yeah.
undrafted guys.
And some of these guys never made it to the NFL, but yeah, no, there is some like Denard Robinson who was in there. So San Antonio, they had the first offensive play in AAF history. Logan Woodside, he used to be a Cincinnati Bengal. He completed the first pass in AAF history to Mikhail McKay. Great name, Mikhail McKay, for the San Antonio. So San Antonio gets the win, San Diego, and this is the game from that big shot to the quarterback. And yeah, this doesn't say a ton about it other than the most notable part is it didn't get flagged. And that's what everyone wanted to see from one of these new leagues. And you thought it was probably going to come from the XFL, which is WWE on football. A lot of people, that's the stereotype that it gets, but who knows? So yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. There is no box score. You can't find box scores for this. ESPN doesn't have any scoreboards for any of this, so it's hard to figure out how these teams were scored in the game.
I feel like this will be something though that changes after, like, give it a good month or so. I think after a while the stats are
Here you go. It looked like they failed both 2-point conversions, and they were 12-6. So 2 touchdowns and 2 failed 2-point conversions left them with 12. And then a field goal gets them to 15. So that's how you get there. So that's kind of interesting.
That's another way you can get there anyways.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So Orlando Apollos 40 and Atlanta Legends 6. Pretty good start for Orlando.
How many teams are there in this league?
8. Yep. What do you think about what do you think about the markets for these? San Antonio, San Diego gets a team back. Orlando, Atlanta, Birmingham, Alabama.
I like them because to me they're up and coming places because they're not. Orlando, yes, is big enough. So is San Diego. We know that. They used to have a football team that left to go to LA. But I think it's good because it's almost a good startup league for these. Orlando's big, but Birmingham, it's just Birmingham. Like there's no touristy type of attraction to me for Birmingham at the moment. So I think it's good. I think it's interesting. You go through some of these other cities that they're big. They're not maybe as big as some of these other cities that host them, but I think it's interesting though that again, I know this was on the San Diego Chargers at the time, their ownership to choose to leave.
Yep.
But I think it's funny that right away they're like, fine, you guys leaving? Well, let's bring in an AAF team.
It's smart. It's smart. San Diego loves football.
And to keep your fan base like surrounding that area. But hey, you know what? Fine, they want to leave. You can for San Diego, they could use that as a marketing bit.
It was smart.
It's perfect for them.
It was smart by the AAF too, because you want good football markets and you want good football fan bases. San Diego has that.
Well, and I think San Antonio is really good too because San Antonio is just down there towards the bottom.
Yeah.
Houston's a little too far away. Dallas is too far away.
In San Antonio, I had this discussion with someone. Far too small to be an NFL market.
Correct.
It's too small to be an NFL market, so why not make it an AAF? I think this was really smart by them as well, and a lot of local guys from Texas playing in that San Antonio team, and that's why it's going to make these teams a little bit more attractive to watch. So Steve Spurrier is the coach of the Orlando Apollos. That's a big name.
Yeah.
Not sure if you knew that. He ran the Philly special that Philly ran in the Super Bowl near the goal line. He ran that and scored a touchdown on it, I do believe. So Steve Spurrier, man. The old ball coach.
To me, the AAF right now, it's going to be on the same level as like the NBA. That's why it'll do well in San Antonio, because San Antonio is just big enough to hold the Spurs. And luckily the Spurs have actually been good.
And I want to talk to you about that. The big news from last night, Thunder Rockets was outdrawn by the AAF.
Yeah, I saw that.
If you're the NBA, how do you have to be livid to see that.
Well, you have to be livid because right now it's safe to say with the big four sports being NBA, MLB, NFL, and NHL, their seasons, they coincide. Each one kind of coincides with the other, but their playoff ends usually when the regular season is beginning for another or you're in the middle of the season. Yeah, I agree. With basketball, I mean, this is supposed to be your time now.
Yeah.
Baseball is not until about March, April.
And even when baseball gets going, no one cares about it during that point in time when you're heading to the playoffs.
Well, and they have, like, NHL's going right now, but NHL has no fight with the NBA. Like, doesn't have a chance. So, yeah, I think you do have to be concerned. But it's just like, and maybe we'll get into this later on because I don't want to get too off subject, but it's like with the NBA right now with their All-Star game.
Yeah.
Trying to get fans, people engaged in it again.
Well, it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
It's a star-driven sport.
To me, I don't care so much about the game.
Right.
Because someone said, oh, the whole weekend's boring. I said, no. I said, I like the three-point contest, the skills challenge, even the rookie-sophomore game, because that's a little more team-centric still.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I like those games.
By the way, for when that coming up here, we will do the second edition of the All-Star Draft and see if I can extend my lead to 2-0. We have a minute to go here, though, on the AAF, so we'll get to that at the end of the podcast.
No, you're fine. Yep.
We'll mention that at the end of the podcast. I do want to mention this. Team in Birmingham, Alabama. You can imagine, that team is chock full of former whats?
Alabama players.
Crimson Tide. And they, defensively, they beat the living snot out of their the Memphis team that they played. And played really well today. Held the first scoreless game. And then there's a game going on right now. So the Arizona Hotshots and the Salt Lake Stallions going on right now. So there's another couple. Arizona.
Where in Arizona
Salt Lake.
is that?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's in Phoenix or Tucson or what.
Salt Lake's a good market too.
Salt Lake, Memphis, Birmingham. Birmingham is one that I didn't think. But again, 2.9 million viewers from 9 to 11 last night.
If you think about it, the teams are all in non-football style markets. Yeah. And that's what they're trying to do. Just trying to start it up.
5 seconds left. Trent Richardson scored a touchdown, if that needs to tell you anything.
So and there's the buzzer.
10 minutes, Trent Richardson scores, and that's pretty incredible. 10 minutes on the clock. We'll start that right now. Talking about some Oklahoma State coverage. Moving on here. Good talk about the AAF, and we'll get back to that NBA talk in a little bit. 72-84 up in Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Beware of the fog, they always say. Kind of, I don't really, whatever.
Cheesy.
Yeah. Cam McGriff, 22 points. He played well up there last year. Played well again this year. 7 for 14, 6 for 8 from the free throw line, 6 boards. He did foul out, though, for, I believe, the second consecutive game. 22 points for him, 14 for Isaac Likely, although Likely needed 13 points to get those 14.
You mean 13 shots?
13 shots to get those 14 points. Yes, thank you. Lindy Waters, 13, Desagua, 11, and Yor Ane, 8. Those are your starters, and obviously you didn't get much off the bench. Curtis Jones, you need more from Curtis Jones. He has 2 points in the ball game. So you start off, you shoot 50% in the first half, and you find yourself tied. That's got to be a little frustrating.
Yeah.
Shooting 50% and you're tied.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is, especially with
4 for 7 from 3 too.
With that and LeGerald Vick, with Kansas losing LeGerald Vick, for the foreseeable future. Yeah, you have to sit there and go, man, we're shooting 56% or whatever, and we're tied.
Yeah, and like LeGerald Vick, his importance gets overstated, I think, sometimes, but he is an experienced guy.
Well, and that's what I was saying. To me, experience is hard to really gauge on a team. And that's my thing with Vic. It's more of his leadership as a senior.
Yeah. What did you think about Isaac Likely? We kind of were tough on him because of his shooting, but he goes 5 of 13, hits a 3-ball, 3 of 4 from the line, and then get this: 5 boards, 6 assists, and just 2 turnovers.
This is the Isaac Likely that I've talked to you about that I wanted to see, and we talked about turnovers. If you can keep them low, great. I know we're talking about Kansas. TCU, he had a breakout moment. 17 points, and then a bunch of good 7 assists, I believe it was, and 4 or 5 rebounds.
And I believe no turnovers.
Yeah, 0. Yeah, or it was 1 turnover, something super low.
Taking care of the basketball.
That's the kind of Isaac Likely I want to see. And honestly, yeah, 14 points on 13 shots. I'm okay with that because to me, the games before the TCU even, he was only shooting 5-6 times a night.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you can give 6-7 assists, but you still need to become a threat that, hey, I will still shoot it. You're going to leave me open, I will shoot.
Yeah, you know the click that we saw in your and A's mind against South Carolina?
Yeah.
I think we've seen that now from Isaac Likely. We saw something click for him because now he's a little more confident. He's taking the ball to the rack, and you know how dangerous he can be. If he develops a three-point shooter, this could be one of the better point guards that we've seen in Oklahoma State history. And I don't want to say that yet. That he's got a long way to go, but it's on the table for him.
Speaking of
yes,
career high 20 points against TCU this past week. He has 8 points on 6 shots. This week, granted, he was, I believe it was 6 or 7, and
Dietrich Lawson though, wasn't
or
he?
6, yeah, 7 or 7 from the field. My main question: when Cameron Griff is on, does that cause to maybe back off a little bit? Like you could, and you're right. I think with Lawson is a fantastic player and everything.
National Player of the Year candidate.
I just that's more of my wonder of okay, or is he having to spend so much energy trying to contain Lawson? Which I mean, Lawson still scored 25 on 17 shots. I mean,
you want to look at the stat that tells the story is 3 for 6 outside from Lawson. Lawson can pull Yor away from the basket, and that's
kind of makes him irrelevant.
Right, that neutralizes him. And then if you put a smaller guy on him to contain him out of the perimeter, he takes you down low and posts you up. So Dietrich Lawson is like Ethan Happ. You can try to contain him, but you're not going to stop him. I will say this though. If what you suggested is the case, if he does back off a little bit when Cam's on, I'm okay with that. I'd rather have 22 from Cam than 20 from Yor because I think Cam's mean a little bit more.
No, I agree with you. The thing that's bothered me, and obviously this is for everyone, part of it, and the Cowboys know it's their dry spells they go through. But to me, I look at Cameron Griffin and go, okay, I think you've hit even a 20-point mark or a double-digit mark for the first time in like 4 games. I mean, he has not shot well in a good week and a half, 2 weeks.
Cam?
Yeah.
Well,
Cameron Griffin struggling. And you can say, if he's guarding the other team's best player, yes, you're using more energy on that side of the ball. I understand that. But as an upperclassman, right, but that's what I mean. Like, you still have to provide. Mm-hmm. You should be averaging 12 to 15 points a game.
No, you're right.
Lindy Waters, you need to be doing the same.
Cam McGriff, here's a stat. Oklahoma State has not won a game in which Cam McGriff has scored single digits. They have not won a single ball game that he scores single digits. So no, you're right. You're absolutely right. It does not matter what he does on the defensive side of the ball. And look, a lot of respect to him because he does give it 110% when he's out there, and he's one of the hardest workers on this team. But you need him to put the ball in the bucket. It's that simple.
Do you think? I want to get your opinion on this. Do you think Curtis Jones is kind of, I don't want to say alienated because he's not alienated from the team, but he's in this weird spot because he is a primary bench guy and the only bench guy for that matter. I mean, yes, Duncan DeMuth came, played 7 minutes, but the speed of the game for Duncan right now is too fast. It's just he looks like he doesn't know what's going on at times.
I'm gonna be honest,
and I know he's injured.
Mr. Duncan DeMuth needs to find somewhere else to go play college basketball.
Okay,
he can't play in the Big 12. I'm sorry. Okay, there, I said it. Everyone's thinking
Don't be sorry.
Everyone else is thinking it. I'm the one that had the what's to say it. He's not a Big 12 basketball player.
I agree with you. Just not. I more to go to Curtis again.
Yep.
The thing is, 22 minutes, 5 shots, 2 points, 3 rebounds. The thing for me is it's like, okay, I don't know if he feels like he can't do that much shooting because, I'm not a starting 5 because I'm the only guy at the bench. But it's like, okay, when you come in, like, they need you. Yeah. Like, as basically the 6th man, as the only guy at the bench, you need to average double figures.
He cannot come in and shoot one shot.
No.
He cannot come in and shoot one 3-point shot. He's outside of Thomas DeZagua. We know that he is the best 3-point shooter, and Lindy is efficient from a 3-point shooting standpoint. But Lindy's not a guy who's going to string 6 threes together. Lindy only hit the big one.
Well, and Lindy only averages, I think, 2.5 threes a game. Like, most of this roster is only like 2. I think DeZagua was maybe 3 or 4 a game. But McGriff and Waters, they're like 2.5. I mean, they're not gonna beat you from outside all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Yeah, they're more selective. Are we seeing? Has this team, in your opinion, from watching them, given up, or do you think they're still?
No, they're
this,
still
like,
fighting.
This. Okay, so is that? Do you think a lot of that is because of what Mike Boynton has done to kind of keep his guys prepared?
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to give Boynton some credit. That's for sure. But I don't. I guess what is like specifically? Do you want to know? Like, is Boynton done a good job? Yes, but Boynton also kind of put the team in this situation. Like, Boynton's kicked off people that he brought in.
So I want to throw the stat out at you. I did this on Thursday. I don't have the paper in front of me, so I can't give you exact numbers. Since I did a stats thing. I did the first 19 games and then the last 5, not counting yesterday's game against Kansas. Okay, I checked everyone's minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, out of the our starting 5, who do you think had the biggest jump for minutes? By how much do you think?
I would say it's actually a lot. I guarantee it's probably 14 minutes.
Not quite. 12.8, just under 13.
You want to know why that is? He stopped fouling, and you know why that is? They had to go to zone, and I would also
there's no one to back him up anymore.
Yeah, and that too.
Likely was right behind him at 7.8.
Yeah, and those two needed to step up. They have. Next thing I want you to research. This is your homework for next week. I want to know how bad the rebounding has gotten, because they have rebounded like you know what in a zone. They rebounded like that wasn't the actual buzzer. That was too. I need a swear bleep on my thing. They rebounded like you know what ever since they went to this zone, and I know that's how it goes. So again, that was not the buzzer yet. We still got a minute to go.
I think, though, if you're Coach Boynton, you have to challenge, especially in practice. You have to go, hey, we're going 5-on-5. We are not getting off of 5-on-5 until you get things figured out,
Yeah. Big deal. But they can't go man. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Foul trouble. I want to get to this. 45 seconds left in this segment. Number 10, Chandler Rogers comes back for the Oklahoma State wrestling team. That's a big deal. And then also Preston Weigel. We didn't know if we'd see Preston Weigel again. These two wrestlers coming back is a huge, huge deal. We know Bulawalen's not coming back, so it's going to have to be up to Caden Gfeller. But I mean, he's number 9 at a weight he's wrestling up, and he's number 5 at that weight class. So nothing wrong with that. But they win every single match, get some bonus points. I think 35 or 34, 39.
39.
Sorry.
Yep.
So there you go. It was a big day against Air Force for them.
Plus, Air Force is 4-4 on the season. 4-4 because all they do is tournaments and matches, stuff like that.
There you go. We'll put 5 minutes on the clock just to apologize to the wrestling because we only got a couple seconds of them, about 45 seconds. But NBA, and we'll get back to the trade talk, but we will coming up here. When is the NBA All-Star?
Next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
Like next weekend?
Yes. It is it is next weekend.
Oh, man. We didn't prepare very well for this, Chris.
No.
So we'll have to come out with a special podcast on like Friday or something with our choices of teams. We won't do a long one.
Teams?
For the All-Star game. We're going to do an All-Star draft like we did last year.
Yeah, they already got drafted.
Right.
But yeah.
But we'll do a draft. And we'll have to do it on like Friday or something to make sure that we got it, and we'll see who wins. You did start the clock, right?
Yes.
So we got the 5 minutes rolling. I want to talk about a couple big trade deals. 3-team deal brings Nikola Mirotic. That was bad. I should probably edit that out. I won't. I'm too lazy to edit that out. But Nikola Mirotic comes to the Bucks. Hasn't played yet. Thon Maker goes to the Pistons. And then the Pelicans get Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, and 4 future second-round picks. Who did the best here?
Wait, what was the other one?
The Pelicans?
Yeah.
They get Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, and 4 future second-round picks.
For who? Mirotic,
and then in the deal, the Pistons got Thon Maker.
Oh, so it's a 3-team trade. Okay.
3-team trade, yep.
Oh, man. To me, even though they're... Okay, people are not going to agree with me. I think it's the Pelicans. Yes, they're second-round picks, but the thing is, like, you don't know what can come out of a second-round pick. I mean, lately, some of the best, like, all-stars, in a sense, have been from the second round. I mean, you look at Draymond Green. You look at, back then, Isaiah Thomas. Now he has a bum hip and things have gone downhill since he got traded from the Celtics to the Cavaliers. But I just think you have to look at it and go, you know what? I think the Pelicans. I think the Bucks still got a good pick too.
Do you like Mirotic though with the Bucks?
Mirotic is good just because he can stretch the floor. That's going to help with Giannis.
Yes.
Because Giannis is a driver. That's where it's nice because Thon lives in the paint. But I was reading up how he requested the trade because he wanted more playing time.
Thon?
Yeah, because he fell out of minutes favors for I forget who it was that kind of took his minutes, which is fine. Like if you want to go get some minutes. No one expected
Brook Lopez to be this good.
No, well, yeah, no one expected him to translate his game to an actual 3-point shot.
Yeah, and I mean he's dominant out there now. So I think when you look at the potential starting five of this, Chris, Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Mirotic, and Lopez, we're talking about a pretty dangerous starting five, and I think the best starting five in the East. So be interesting to see. The Toronto Raptors, they get Marc Gasol. Was this a good trade for them, giving up Jonas Valanciunas, Delon Wright, CJ Miles, and a 2024 second-round pick? Also, real quick note, they're trading draft picks of guys that are in high school likely right now.
Yeah.
2024? Come on.
Honestly, it was a good trade just for the mere fact of if Kawhi leaves, your team's in shambles anyways.
Yeah.
But because people are going to look and go, okay, Valanciunas is only 26. Gasol's 34. So you have the age gap. Gasol, even at his worst, is still better than Valanciunas at his best. That's the hard thing about it. So, yeah, I think you look at it and go, you know what? Overall, the Raptors got a good deal. Part of me almost hopes they could have gotten Conley, Gasol for Lowry and Valanciunas because I still think Conley's an upgrade from Lowry, especially when it comes to the playoffs. Because that's my biggest concern is Lowry has been horrible in the playoffs.
Yeah, and
that's all I'm going to say on that.
I'm just going to say this. I'm glad that I don't think they got the best deal that they could have for Marc Gasol. I don't think Toronto did. And,
you mean the Grizzlies?
No. Well, I don't think Toronto did as well as they could have in this deal.
Oh, okay, I got you.
That's my point.
Yep.
And as a Bucks follower, I don't know if I can call myself a fan. That might be a little bandwagonish of me.
Yep.
But as a Bucks follower, I don't mind that. Markelle Fultz. Oh,
it's about time.
All he can command is Jonathan Simmons, a protected first-round pick, and a second-round pick. Poor him. And
the
then
76ers still got a steal out of that. Like, Orlando, what are you doing? That's what I don't get because
but a protected one.
Yeah, but they're banking on that he's going to actually, like, Markelle is going to get out of this slump. It's a chance.
That's fair. And then Harrison Barnes gets traded to the Kings.
While playing, which is fantastic.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Jabari
Jabari Parker gets moved as well.
Also, Harrison Barnes opted to play. He knew he was getting trade talks, and he opted to play. So just putting that out there.
That's something that's really interesting as well. There's the thing. So we'll have to stop it there, although there was some other ones with Tobias Harris going to the 76ers. Let's add a couple seconds to talk about that.
All I was going to say is I think besides the Warriors, I think the 76ers have one of the stronger starting fives now. If Tobias Harris, you're giving me that look, don't do that. If they can mesh, if Jimmy Butler can mesh, I mean, we saw it against the Lakers. Now the Lakers are not that great by any means. They're close to the number 8 seed. That's about it. But the fact that JJ Redick goes out for 34 or 32 tonight or this afternoon, Tobias is playing some of the best ball of his career, which it took him 7 to 8 years to finally get there. But no, this is going to be a dangerous group. You got Joel Embiid, who just dominates, and that's where Tobias at the 4 helps because he's a stretch 4. Embiid's just wrecking havoc down low. Ben Simmons, it kind of helps because then he can kick and drive and stuff. But I think the starting 5, if they produce the way they do, people are in trouble.
We'll see what happens. I think the Bucks are still in a pretty good spot. So
I still think they are. Honestly, if you're looking at the Bucks starting 5 to Philly, if you're looking at just like what you call star power popularity, you're going with the 76ers because
probably
it's a smaller market Bucks against a big market 76ers who got all these big arrogant names on their roster. And, you have Giannis who never really talks, like bad or anything.
Yeah, Middleton. Bledsoe's a little bit of a problem. But
Bledsoe can be a thorn in the side at times. But other than that, like, you don't have like a lot of negative noise that comes out of Milwaukee.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's fun being a Milwaukee follower that you don't see those bad stories coming out of there, and you don't have Joel Embiid spewing crap out of his mouth.
Real quick, last question.
Yes, sir.
If could we have a Anthony Davis scenario in Milwaukee if Giannis doesn't get paid like he should, or if Milwaukee can't get to the next level?
I hope not, man.
It was just
I hope not, but here's where you have to trust the star. You have to. Pelicans fans should have trusted Anthony Davis when he said, I'm going to stay here my whole career. You have to trust him. And when Giannis says, I want to stay in Milwaukee my whole career, I think he means it. Whether or not he follows through with that, I don't know. Because they chased Kareem Abdul-Jabbar out of town as well. Simply because drunken debauchery and all the beer and cheese. And he was... He didn't like that quite as much. So, Chris, good talking today. Thanks for on late notice coming over here and doing a podcast.
It's always a good time. I like doing these.
Border Battle 003 is in the books. Thanks so much for listening. Next time, we'll be better with the whole horn and such like that. But
and also send out your suggestions where you want us to
where
do a
should we
podcast
record?
next.
Where should we record?
Maybe at some point we'll add an even video.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Facebook Live? Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We appreciate that. And we're going to sign off here on this Sunday night. It'll be posted again tomorrow on Monday. Thanks so much. It's the Border Battle Podcast on the Triple Play Podcast Network.